Hi, I'm Dr. Rajini Sarvananthan. I'm a consultant, developmental and general pediatrician here at Park City Medical Center. So, autistic children are children first, and we must remember that whenever we, as parents or even people, carers, dealing with children with autistic children. Knowing that children are children, we must remember that our most important role is to equip them with skills so that they become more and more independent as they grow up. How is it different to a neurotypical child? Children with autism have difficulties with communication. Sometimes what they are interested in can be a little bit repetitive or different to what other children like to enjoy or play with. Sometimes the way they play is different from children who are developing typically. So knowing these things, we probably have to adapt the way we parent them or how we communicate with them or try to engage them in day-to-day activities. I always get asked this question by parents, and the first thing I would say to parents is you need to decide what is normal for you. I think the most important thing is to make sure that our children are happy, to make sure that they are as independent as they can be, and hopefully be able to take care of themselves in whatever way. So there are children with autism who grow up to be adults, who then go on to have professions, are able to, even throughout the years, go to a school for typical children or mainstream school. But we know that many don't and need certain interventions to help them with education, to help them with leading an independent life. So what's important as parents is that from the word go, you don't treat your children differently in the sense that you ensure that they become independent. They are able to feed themselves, they're able to dress themselves, they are able to be aware of what the dangers are around them. And this comes through exposure by taking them out and guiding them. And it may take you longer to guide them, but the important thing is that you do it as often as you need to until they develop those skills. Deciding on what they're going to do in the future takes time, and it also depends on what your child is capable of. My advice to parents is don't set your expectations too high, because then you frustrate yourself, you put your child under pressure. Set goals that are achievable and start with the basic functions of independence, self-care, danger awareness, and then how your child is able to adapt themselves in the community. And this is what we call adaptive skills. Just because a child cannot communicate in a normal way through speech doesn't mean a child cannot communicate. Hence, we would want to use tools that can help that child communicate. Just because a child is not aware of dangers doesn't mean we stop those children going out into the community. It may be they need assistance, and that gradually we remove that assistance once we see that that child is independent and is aware of the danger. So do it step by step. What's important to understand about communication is all of us know communication as speaking, yeah? And it's of course the desire of every parent that they want their child to be able to speak. But that may not be possible for all children. I'm not sure if people know this, but actually more than 90% of how we communicate is nonverbal, just like I'm using my hands now. Yeah, and I'm using my eyes to talk to y'all, and my facial expressions. And what's important is that we work on those nonverbal skills to give that child an ability to express themselves. We then, of course, need to use other communication methods if a child is not able to speak. And these are called augmentative alternative communication devices. Now, it can be as simple as using pictures, where we call it a picture exchange communication system, where we get parents to prepare books with pictures of the common things around as well as common actions. So a child can request to play, a child can request to read a book together, a child can request for specific food or to go to sleep. Or we even have what we call communication boards, where a child can say open, go by pointing at specific words or signs. Then there are apps that can be used in phones now, or tablets or computers, where a child has an alternative way of expressing themselves if they are not able to express through speech. Yeah, there's a lot of don'ts. One of the first things is whenever we see somebody who cannot communicate, it's not what we say, but how we say it. We tend to start shouting, and we don't realize this, but when we start shouting, our facial expression changes. So from being calm, when we shout, we look stressed. So remember what I said about non-verbal communication. Children with autism are very good with their visuals by picking up what we express through our face. So that's the first thing. When we're talking to children with autistic children, we often say a lot of no, don't do this, but we should try and think of a way of changing it. So instead of saying don't jump on the sofa, we can say come sit down. So we often use a lot of negatives, but we want to turn it so it becomes positive. And we don't want to say, oh, you poor thing. Yeah, I feel sorry for you. And a lot of times, a lot of people, not just with autism, but people with other disabilities, they don't want pity. They want to be included. So let's start using some inclusive words such as, come on, join me, as opposed to stay away, move away. And remember, it's not just what we say, but how we say it. I'd like to say to parents of autistic children, remember you have a child first. I keep saying this all the time, but I think that's very crucial to remember. Anybody who is on the autism spectrum, they are people first. Yes, they have a disability. And many people with disabilities want people to know about their disabilities. So don't hide them, bring them out into the world, let them have the experiences that your other children or you have experienced yourself. That's the first thing. And doing it from a young age allows children or autistic children to adapt to society, environment, and all the challenges that come with it. Don't give up hope. Don't let people say, oh, you poor thing. Show them that my child can be somebody. And remember, always set your expectations to what your child is capable of, not what other people expect of your child or what pressures you get from the outside world. And your child is always your child first and is different to other children. Just because your child has autism doesn't mean he's like your neighbor's child with autism. Every child is different and has his own path in terms of growth and development.